Welcome to Mortgage Talk 101 here on Super Talk 1270. Time to look behind the numbers. Buying, selling, refinancing. Mortgage Talk 101 addresses real issues in real estate. Now, live from the Super Talk 1270 studios, here's Mortgage Talk 101 host, Joe Sheehan.
A.K. Joe Closet, your body built for radio, saddling up the stainless steel microphone in the Mortgage Network with my co-host,
Dave Floor, Mr. Housing.
Yeah, we gotta retire the monikers, I think.
Do we?
The whole,
I got to come up with something new.
Well, I mean, maybe you kind of have retired the whole body built for your living room.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to get rid of the body built for the radio.
No, because you're looking pretty good. So.
Well, yeah, but that's the point. It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be funny. You know how they always had a face for radio because and then I had the body for radio. But between the two of us, you and I have lost like maybe a person or two.
Yeah, a person. Yeah.
And so I mean you're looking pretty good over there, svelte. Yeah.
We could.
I'm down a few pounds.
There we go.
Jim, Jim down a few.
Yeah.
See, we do have a person.
All my pants are either too loose or too tight.
We got a person lost here. We lost a person.
We've lost a person. You know what? And I saw him the other day on the milk carton.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Yes. There, the devil. Well, I'll tell you what, though. I know one thing. We all have a face for radio.
Yeah,
all three of
there
us.
we go. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I was thinking we got to come up with.
So we still got that going for us, which is nice.
That's nice. That's the good news. So we got to come up with something else because I can't.
All right.
Because I mean, we're looking too good.
Can we have to the new year to think about it?
I don't know.
Or do you want to do it for like a Christmas?
You know what?
present
You and
thing?
I we're in the mortgage business. We're better under pressure.
Yeah. Oh,
we
okay.
should set it. I'm not sure we shouldn't set a deadline.
There we go. Deadline. Okay. That's true. We like deadlines in the mortgage business.
All right. Well, what's going on with mortgage interest rates, folks? That's what you tune in for here on Mortgage Talk 101. But up a little.
What are those little rascals doing?
Oh, they just, they're giving us a little trouble. 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 4.02. The 15-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.21. Half-point discounts, that's the same. So up from last week at 3.98 to 3.13. So up slightly, crossing over the 4% mark. Remember, these are averages, folks. What Freddie Mac does is they take mortgages closed across the country, put them into an average, and every Thursday morning they put out the average interest rate. So you actually could experience rates being even a little higher than that because rates have kind of been trending up.
Aren't you just
last
a bearer of good news this morning?
Yeah, 4% interest rates. I think
Man, Joe, I tell you, we're gonna have to come up with a new moniker for you. Definitely.
But I mean, at the peak low, 3.92 up to 4.02.
That was the peak low.
The peak low in the last quarter.
What is that? A peak low?
It's a Montana thing.
Montana, okay.
It's a Montana thing.
Okay. At
its lowest point.
At its lowest point, the peak.
Listen, I got my education over the border.
Okay, yeah, well.
I moved here. You guys have been trying to wear off on me ever since I got here.
We know what happens out in Montana.
Yep, stays in Montana.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, what else is going on? A little bit more economic. Before we get to the mortgage market guide report on whether or not you should lock your rate in or should you float your interest rate or what should you do?
Okay.
The jobless claims came out. Of course, there's a jobs report tomorrow that everyone will be watching for. And ECB's Draghi.
The European Central Bank.
He isn't doing anything.
Draghi. He's the Italian dude.
Yeah,
right?
He didn't help anything today for the Europeans over there.
What did he say?
He said, "I'm keeping interest rates right where they're at."
Oh,
buddy.
that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he probably said it in
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
hey, I'm keeping the interest rate.
So yeah. Hey.
You
got a problem?
You got a problem? That's what we want. You know what would be great? What would be great is to have a New Jersey raised Italian born in Italy who goes back in his head of the ECB.
There you go. Oh yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
That
have some guy from New Jersey over there
to make you an offer you can't understand.
Yeah, making you an offer you can't understand.
Yeah.
I just caught that at the end. You gotta remember, I am definitely an Atari in the new gaming world. All right. So oil down 78, 72. That's a little problem
that's
for
interesting.
North Dakota.
Yeah.
We like that $80 oil point, that's for sure.
I know Mr. Saudi Arabia over there dropping their price just for the U.S.
You just
because
Just
you're
out of the
special.
goodness of their hearts.
Because
yeah.
you're special over
Right.
there in the United States. We love you. We're going to drop our oil prices.
But here's something a little disconcerting. All this good news. There's a pile of good news in the U.S. economy. However, planned layoffs by U.S. employers soared by almost 70% from September to October.
Yeah, so that number you just gave us on jobless claims might go up.
Might go up. So, but I don't know if that's been factored in
Not this week, no.
to the trading or not. But
Well, the question in my mind is how the election is going to change anything, if it does change anything.
Okay.
well, we're going to talk
I
about
mean, not
that.
to be cynical. I'm not trying to be cynical here, but I have this gut feeling that things are probably not going to change as much as a lot of people like to think.
Well, Lord, hear our prayer.
Yeah. Gridlock.
We'll talk about that after the break. If you've got
Okay.
questions or you want to input 663-1270.
Okay. So
But
what does
Mortgage Market
MMG
Guide
say?
Mortgage Market Guide says Labor Department reported that weekly initial jobless claims fell 10,000 in the latest week to 278 and below the 285,000 expected. It was the 8th straight week of sub 300,000 levels. The 4-week moving average of claims are now at a 14-year low. The improved job market sets up for tomorrow's October jobs report.
Okay.
Productivity is up too.
Oh, that's
Overall,
good.
there seems to be nothing but good news. The manufacturing index doing
Goes
well.
up, yep.
Even with all that, though, not really a hint of inflation.
So
So,
we're good producers. We're productive.
so what does the Mortgage Market Guide say you should do about your interest rate? Well, based on some of the recent positive job data and the manufacturing and service reports, as well as the ADP report, there is reason to think that the number will meet or exceed expectations. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal reported that Trim Tabs Investment Research said its analysis of daily income tax deposits into the U.S. Treasury show payrolls jumped by 314,000 last month, its largest estimate in more than 4 years.
Oh,
We are
boy.
not sure we will see a 3-handle reading, but we do expect a positive number.
Yeah.
So basically what they're saying is if you got the rate you like, lock that sucker in today.
Okay.
However, they don't believe all this good news. Technically, you have seen the bullish flag pattern. That's a technical term for traders. But for this reason, we think floating longer term is wise. However, if you have loans you can't afford to lose, price them. lock
Okay.
'em. So there.
All right.
So if you got what you want, if you like your payment where it's at, and you know what, that's really always the best lock advice.
Yeah.
You know, something you can always do as we go
Definitely.
into the break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the election. We have lots of stuff today. 3 lessons learned from mortgage rate drop. You've got a couple things.
Yeah.
But basically, if you got a payment you like, lock it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask your lender if rates drop a lot. If you have the ability to renegotiate or drop a rate.
Yeah. Lock
in
it
the future.
and don't look back.
Exactly. Go to sleep
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
Especially
Sleep peacefully.
especially in the 4% range.
Sleep peacefully, folks.
Not during this commercial break because we'd like you right here listening when
Yeah.
we come back.
Yeah. We're
right,
having
Al.
a jazz day.
Yeah.
After the break, folks, with Mortgage Talk 101, Joe and Dave.
The Giants of Jazz Guitar for the bumpers.
All right.
And Django, of course.
Right now it's 36.
You're never more than a few minutes from a weather update here on Super Talk 1270.
Waiting for the guitar, Jim. There it is.
Yeah. Chitlins Con Carne.
Kenny Burrell.
Kenny Burrell.
Oh, he's pulling out all the stops here. He's got people we've never heard of.
Stevie Ray Vaughan also did a nice version.
Yeah, I have that. I have the Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan
Yeah.
is one of the great blues jazz guitarists of all time. One of the great classic rock artists of all time. But probably will never be ranked as high as he really should be because
He's a short span.
short span.
Yeah. I saw him.
Yeah.
But
He had the
his
same problem
stuff-
Roger Maris had. His
Yeah.
career was not long enough.
His stuff is just.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
It's nobody plays like that.
I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan in Fargo
You did.
about a year before he died
Oh
in an
my
accident. And yeah, he was.
Well, and then
It was
he's
incredible. He was a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Or no, he had his
Yeah.
organ player with him then, so they were a 4-piece. But
Oh,
he
okay.
just
But then
live just kills it.
And then it's like he's singing without trying.
Yeah.
So he has that guitar. It's one of those things where it's almost like he's kicked back in a lazy chair with his guitar.
Yeah.
And that's how it sounds.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect blues sound because
Well, he was one of those guys. He was playing with both hands. He wasn't, strumming and picking. He was playing something up on the neck with his left hand and something different down here with his right hand.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Incredible sound. Anyway,
anyway.
All right. So we finished up with interest rates. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about the election and potential impact. The one thing that we've had going for us in regards to politics and real estate is that the stalemate in Congress has worked in our favor.
Yeah.
They couldn't get GSE reform done. They couldn't wreck anything. The one time they got something done, they got the Frank Dodd Act.
Yeah.
And that has been, nothing but increased costs and
it's only halfway done.
And increased barriers to home ownership.
Yeah.
And nobody can for sure really identify if anybody's been protected by anything by it. And of course, folks, again, we call it Frank Dodd on this show, not to be confused with Dodd-Frank,
right?
Which sometimes people think we're saying if we say it in order.
Yeah,
So we do know that the law is the Dodd-Frank law,
and we're sitting here saying we don't like Dodd-Frank, and that's not true.
Yeah,
we don't like Dodd-Frank.
So we say Frank Dodd here.
Yes.
But at any point, I mean, now with the election results and the Republicans controlling Congress, and the Republicans have come out with this renewed interest to work together.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. They want to get things done, Dave.
Well, but they have to have the president's cooperation in the working together part.
But he's only got about a year and a half left.
Yeah. So it depends what he wants to do.
Yeah.
If he wants to be a stumbling block, or if he wants to try and work on his legacy, I guess, and get something done in the last year and a half or 2 years. But I don't know.
Let's just hope that mortgage lending isn't at the top of the list of things for them to get along about.
Yeah. Well, I have an article here that somebody talked about this, obviously, yesterday after the election. What's the GOP Senate mean for Fannie and Freddie? And Trey Garrison from Housing Wire. He talked about a couple of the bills that we've talked about, the Johnson-Crapo bill, which is aptly named, and the PATH Act. And in the article, he's saying the Johnson-Crapo bill is dead in the water because the conservative folks in the House and the Senate would look at that and say all you're doing with that is you are creating, you're tearing down two entities, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and you're just going to replace them with another government bureaucracy.
A super entity.
Yes. What are they going to call it? The Federal Housing...
It's an insurance
thing.
Something.
Federal Mortgage Insurance Corporation or something like that.
So you're just... The FMIC.
You're tearing down something that's already existing in place and just replacing it with basically kind of the same thing, just doing it a little bit differently. But it's... So he's just saying that,
and whenever you do that, you're going to wind up with something that has more rights and privileges than what you previously had.
Yeah, so that's probably dead. The PATH Act was one where you basically are getting rid of, you're privatizing everything, the mortgage industry, period.
Because there's so many investors waiting to get in.
And they would let Fannie and Freddie, okay, you're done, you're no government support, you're private investors, you go have at it, and we'd have FHA. We'd have Ginnie Mae, we'd have Rural Housing Service, Rural Development, the guaranteed loans, et cetera, and we'd have VA, and then everything else
all backed by Ginnie Mae.
All backed by Ginnie Mae. Everything else would have to be private.
And only how many privatized jumbo securities are out there?
There's
Redwood and
I can't think of the other one.
Two.
There's two of them. Yeah.
In almost 10 years, two popped up,
and they basically have done. Two issues, and maybe three.
They're okay.
Yeah,
they're not setting the world on fire. They're not handing money out hand over fist.
It's not something they want to invest in. So, they'll do. It's all going to be, Joe. What is it going to be? 20% down payments will be the norm for a conventional loan, and
that's called in-house bank loans. You can still get private money for mortgages. You can get in-house bank loans.
Yeah, and you might have. investors out there that are willing to say, yeah, if we got nothing but 20% down or higher,
15-year terms.
short term, exactly, we'll buy that any day of the week. But
Yep.
that's what you got.
You want to hear a sucking sound on the equity of the American homeowner?
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. So this is
Actually, that would be more appropriately named the Crapo bill, because that's what you'd hear as a flushing. You just hear the equity going down the toilet.
yeah. Yeah. So it would be very interesting if there is a push for housing finance reform, what it actually would happen, because there's no easy answers here.
We've been living in the bastion of conflict.
Yeah.
We've been sheltered under the shade of discord.
Yes. So in some regards, gridlock on this issue would be just fine. I mean, we are, theoretically, the taxpayer is on the hook because Fannie and Freddie are in conservatorship, and the government is backing them up. So the taxpayer is backing them up. And if something would go south, you could theoretically say, bam.
But and this cracks me up with the lies, the lies we tell people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're on the hook because the government has a connection to an entity.
Yeah.
But now AIG, for example, was a government-run entity
For a period of time.
But
They paid everything back.
Was it in the beginning?
No.
But still, my point is, when something becomes too big to fail, or if there's going to be a major consequence, the government is going to step to the plate regardless. And so it doesn't have to be a government-sponsored entity. It doesn't have to be under conservatorship. It doesn't have to be anything. The American taxpayer is on the hook anytime something becomes a zero-sum implosion.
Yeah.
Any time that something is going to be holocaustic to the economy, the American taxpayer is going to be on the hook. Case in point, AIG.
Yeah. Who
AIG
else is going to step in?
Was a massive private insurance firm.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with the American taxpayer until it was all of a sudden going to implode the economy.
Yeah.
And the American taxpayer had to step up. And the one time we did, Bears and Stearns.
Well,
One of the 5 large investment banking firms in the world, been around for over 100 years, survived the Depression, but when it went down and it was going to take down the economy with it, the American taxpayer on the hook.
Yeah.
And whether you're on the hook or not, if you are a Chase stockholder, you got blessed with piles and piles of Countrywide debt.
Yeah.
Because Bernanke, Sheila Baird, the FDIC, Bernanke, Paulson stepped up to you and said, "Mr. Diamond, thank you for agreeing to take all this Countrywide debt."
What?
Right. What? And
did?
So as a Chase stockholder, you took on the responsibility of a massive failed entity.
And you were a taxpayer.
And last time I checked, stockholders are taxpayers.
Yeah.
So at any point, the idea that by removing these big things from in the infrastructure of the economy out into the private market, you've somehow taken them out of the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Out of the responsibility of taxpayers. As taxpayers, one thing we need to understand, when it hits the fan, it's always going to be a taxpayer that's going to be downwind from it.
No, Fannie and Freddie, we've talked about before, is let them keep the money they're earning and build up some capital. And maybe you won't have to worry about stepping in and taking them over, rather than taking all their profits and spending them on God knows what right now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll
All
come
right.
back after the break, and we'll talk about 3 ways to avoid mortgage insurance and lessons we learned from mortgage rate drops and how much do Americans owe on their mortgages.
Oh, that's a good
state-by-state report.
Oh, very
Here
good.
on Mortgage
Okay.
Talk 101 after the break.
Right now it's 36.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Why do I feel like I need a martini?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Jazz. Okay.
Dry.
What do we got? We got 3 ways to avoid.
Extra
Let's
dry.
talk mortgages now with Joel.
Let's
we
talk.
talk macro. Let's talk micro.
Let's talk micro.
Okay. 3 ways to avoid mortgage insurance. Okay, I'm going to fire these off to you, and then
Fire 'em
we'll
away.
see. We'll talk about them. Now, first of all, a little lead into this. This article comes from our friends at MGIC, which provides mortgage insurance. Written by Sal Miosi. Don't know Sal. He sounds like he could be from Jersey.
Probably from Jersey.
But anyway, Sal talks about his story. A little story here. He said his friend of his sells packaging. It's the type that bakeries use to preserve and display their delectable treats. And one day, this friend mentioned to Sal that he wasn't sure how he was able to sell mortgage insurance, a product that, at least in his friend's opinion, no one wanted. Right? We could agree
I
with
hate
that.
PMI.
Joe's said that before. He hates PMI. Now, what Sal says is, I informed my friend that I never make the mistake of assuming anyone wanted mortgage insurance. He should just understand that no one wants his packaging. Just like he should understand that no one wants his packaging. And his friend said, well, my business is going great. Sales are up, et cetera. He says, but buddy, your customers don't want your packaging. They want something that will keep their delectable treats fresh and tempt passersby who want attractively packaged, fresh, delectable treats. Your packaging is merely a solution to get what they want. So is mortgage insurance. Not only does it protect and preserve your product, it also helps your customer achieve what they really want, a home.
Exactly.
Okay.
Without 20% down.
Without 20% down. Okay, so first thing, Sal's talking about, how do you avoid mortgage insurance? Strategy number 1, put 20% down.
Put 20% down.
Don't have to worry about it.
Have
Okay.
great credit, qualify for a
Yep.
conventional loan, put 20% down.
Okay, but how long is it going to take you to save 20% down? Average home price in Bismarck right now is $220, I think, somewhere around that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go
So
with
20% is
200,000.
44,000 bucks. How
Okay.
How long would it take you to save $44,000?
$4,000. Okay. Say someone's saved, or they've saved $10,000. They've been able to put away $500 a month.
That's
Okay.
6,000.
It would take them
6,000 a year?
another. It would take them another 5-6 years to get to that additional $30,000 that they would need. $34,000.
And that would be purposing their entire extra money for savings to that.
Probably that. So right.
Mm-hmm.
Say that takes you. Say you got another 5 years to do that. Okay. How about what if home prices keep going up if they appreciate?
Oh, those dirty dogs.
So now that home you thought, I can afford that $220,000 home.
Well,
Now it's
especially in Bismarck when
240.
you had double-digit appreciation over 2 years.
Let's say it's just simple, small appreciation.
3 to 5%.
Say it goes up to, now that home I was looking at, size wise and everything. Now it's 250, 240. Okay, so now I got to save
48.
some more money.
48,000.
So I got to wait another year. It's
44 went to
do I
48.
Catch up? It's hard to catch up, right? Mm-hmm. But if you use mortgage insurance, you only put 5% down, and you're into that home sooner. You start
Building equity.
equity in the house, and hopefully maybe someday you move up, or you just keep that equity. Okay, so
And eventually the mortgage insurance expires unless it's FHA.
right, if you're using private mortgage insurance, you can have that canceled if you pay down enough, and if your home is or stable value, you're going to be able to cancel that. So, strategy of putting 20% down, hard to achieve for a lot of people to save that much in a short period of time. Over a long period of time, yes. But we talked about that on the show before, how long it can take to save a 20% down payment in this market.
Little secret.
Yeah.
I've never put 20% down on a house.
Yeah.
I bought
Yeah.
4 houses.
4 houses, never have.
I've never put. Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I sold a house and bought a second home for cash one time.
Okay. All right.
But
Okay.
but really I didn't do lending then. See, I leveraged the sale of one property to buy. So
yeah, and that's what I've done. I mean, I've also bought 4 houses, I guess, or bought 3. Take it back. I bought 3. First one, mortgage insurance. Second one, mortgage insurance. Last one, leveraged the sale of the one didn't have mortgage insurance.
So here's the deal. You've got the director of home ownership for the state of North Dakota,
Yeah,
and you've got fairly well recognized mortgage professional,
successful
mortgage
lender.
professional
Yep.
whose advice has been sought out in radio, television,
Yeah.
and both of us have utilized some form of mortgage insurance on.
Purchases of
On
homes. Yeah.
Have you ever put 20% down?
Yeah, the last one I
The
got.
last one you bought.
Because I was able to leverage the equity
Right.
I had in the previous
Right.
two, basically.
So
to put
so
into the
more
last one I
times
bought.
than not, almost 90% of the time between the two of us,
Yeah.
we've used mortgage insurance to buy our home.
Yeah. No, if I buy another one, I'm probably not going to need mortgage insurance. I'll have enough cash on hand to avoid that. But yeah. But so even though we say we hate PMI,
Well, I'm always joking when I say
we're
that.
joking. We're joking when we say it because it is a valuable item. And just like he's talked about in the article, it's the package that gets you into a house.
Right.
On reasonable terms.
And you look at the investment of cash. What do you lose? What do you lose by giving up the cash? And so, for example, I just saw a quote on a policy on a 15-year term mortgage, where they're putting like 15 or 10% down, and the cost of the mortgage insurance was like $39 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if you figure even on 5% of a $200,000 deal, $10,000, how long does it take before $39 adds up to $10,000?
It's a long time.
It's a long time. But if you had to go to the bank and get $10,000, what would that cost you?
Yeah.
The interest and the fees to get the $10,000 would cost you a lot more than $39 a month.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you think about when you're talking about mortgage insurance, and this is always a good conversation, is what does it cost to give up the power of cash?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the financial rules I've always used when advising my clients, when helping people make decisions, and when I'm training my staff, when you're making decision, cash equals choices. The more cash you can have on hand, the more choices you have, because when your cash is locked up in the equity of things, you got to go get somebody's permission to make the choice now.
Exactly.
So I want to buy this, or I need to fix this, or I want to solve this problem, and I need money to do it. But all my cash is really locked up in the equity of a home or stocks or vehicles or land or whatever it is. Now to get that cash, get access to that cash, I got to go to a bank
Yeah.
who decides if they think I'm making a good choice or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus when the cash is in my pocket,
Yeah.
I can make as bad a choice as I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's a good choice.
Or as good a choice.
Because would I rather have $10,000 sit in the bank when something happens in my house that I got to fix? Furnace went out, water heater went out. I've got the cash to pay for that.
Right.
And I'm not putting that on my credit card or something.
Right. And if you don't have the cash to make those kinds of to solve those kinds of problems, what does it cost you to get the cash?
Yeah.
Or what does it cost if you can't get the cash?
Yeah. Well,
And-
you put that on a credit card. What's your best rate on a credit card today? Maybe
8,
you can
8,
get
9,
yeah.
maybe, unless you got some sort of introductory rate, but then
Right.
you're going to have to manage that and transfer it. And there's always going to be a charge.
So not bad.
of some
Okay,
sort.
let's move on. Strategy number 2 to avoid mortgage insurance. Use a piggyback loan. Okay, piggyback loan is you'd go out and get a first mortgage for 80% or less of the value of the home. You take out a second mortgage for, say, 15% of the purchase price. That typically is going to be at a higher interest rate, and you can't cancel it. You got to pay it off after.
Sometimes it might have a
some point.
balloon.
Yep, balloon. So what's the issues with the piggyback?
Well, for one, again, the advantage to a piggyback loan is if you can itemize.
Mm-hmm.
If you can itemize, you can deduct the interest.
Yep.
But if you can't itemize, and mortgage insurance isn't deductible anymore.
Yeah.
That's the way I understand it. Yeah, check with your accountant. I'm not sure about that, but
Yeah,
I think
it's going away.
that went away.
Yeah.
But that would be the one advantage of it. The problem with the piggyback loan is that it doesn't have the terms of your first. So, for example, if it has a 5-year balloon on it, now when that balloon comes due, you still got 30 years or you still got 25 years on your first mortgage. You still have anywhere between 10 and 20 years to pay on your piggyback loan, but in 5 years, you have to redo it.
Yeah. And
Now, not all of them are like that, but that could be one of your situations. Most piggyback loans are going to have some sort of variable rate function, either set by a balloon or they're going to have something where the rate's going to reset, because nobody really wants to give you money except the mortgage industry for 15 to 30 years at a fixed rate.
Yep. So, okay, not a good deal. Okay, third strategy that Sal is coming up with here is to avoid PMI, finance through FHA. Okay.
Okay, well, that's
Okay, problems with that is
well,
versus private mortgage insurance is the cost right now today.
It's way more expensive.
Way more expensive. You can't get rid of it today unless you put 10% or more down. Then you could possibly cancel your FHA insurance down the road. But most people, you're not there. So it's for the life of the loan. It's more expensive. So if you got good credit, and you can qualify, PMI is the way to go.
That's kind of like saying to avoid buying milk at grocery store prices.
Yeah.
Buy it at convenience store prices.
That's kind of what it is.
That's a terrible decision.
The only reason to look at it is if you can't qualify for a PMI loan because of credit or something. But is it worth it to maybe work on getting your credit score up and forego buying a house till next year? Because in the long run, it's going to be cheaper for me.
I mean, I love FHA. Don't get me wrong, but man,
useful.
it's way more expensive than a conventional loan.
Useful.
That'd be a terrible decision.
So things to think about when you're considering buying a home and whether or not I'm going to do mortgage insurance or not. Don't be afraid of the term mortgage insurance. Is what we're trying to say here. So
when we come back in the last segment, we're going to talk about how much do Americans owe on their mortgages in each state. We're going to compare North Dakota against the rest of the country.
Okay.
How are you doing out there, North Dakota? After the break.
Right now, 39.
Your news leader, weeknights at 6 and 10. Super Talk 1270.
Yeah, what do you switch to now? Like a vodka tonic?
Yeah, I think cranky vodka tonic. Yeah, that'd be good.
Maybe a nice liqueur on the side.
Hey, Joe, I got one for you.
Or
we get all these reports, and we talk about these reports that come out and everything. Elliot Eisenberg.
Oh, I love Elliot.
This is Monday. He comes out, he says, the Commerce Department reported that September new home sales increased 0.2% from August. Okay, well, that's nice. New home sales went up. Mm-hmm. Elliot goes on to say, the problem with this report is it has a reported margin of error of plus or minus 15.7%.
Oh, wow. So you can only be 13% or so off.
So the September sales could have been up as much as 15.9 or down by 15.5. No one knows.
No.
The month before, sales were up 18%, but were they?
Thanks.
In August, the margin of error was plus or minus 16.3%. Elliot's solution? Totally ignore these monthly reports.
Wow.
So if you see that coming out from the Commerce Department, home sales, just forget it. Ignore it.
It's worthless.
Nobody knows. And I wonder how many other reports are just like that.
Hopefully not the one we're about to read.
Okay, let's read this one.
How much Americans owe on mortgages in every state?
Okay, well, this should be fairly close.
Ranging from 93,000 in Western Virginia to
Okay.
275,000 in Washington, D.C.
275 and 93. Is that the number?
93.
In West
A little bit of a
Virginia.
spread. Yep.
Okay.
West Virginia.
And-
So
okay.
where does let's get to our neighbors.
Okay.
What about Montana?
All right. Where your home state?
And wait, Montana's not on the report.
Well, they don't
What?
owe anything out there. They're all rich ranchers and
they all have oil.
Or
rich
they're raising
ranchers.
dental floss like Frank Zappa.
South Dakota, 115,800
Okay.
and some change.
How about Minnesota?
Minnesota, where are we at? Oh, you know what? It's ranking from highest to lowest. That's why. I was looking for
okay.
alphabetical order.
Okay.
That's why.
There we go.
But Minnesota should be.
Take your time.
Yeah, it's only radio.
It's just right. Take your time.
You know,
We don't need to talk.
The only thing worse than actually the thing that is worse than bad talk on the
Uh-huh.
radio is no talk at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, Minnesota. I can't find.
Well, they probably owe so much it's off the chart.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
Alaska, 171,000.
Okay.
Another oil state.
Yeah, just throw some out there.
Nevada, 161,000.
Okay.
Utah, 169,000.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas, down there at 109.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Here we go. There was a second page.
Okay. So it's down the middle. We're looking good. Kansas at 109. South Dakota at 1.
Wyoming,
Okay. Wyoming.
143.
143, a little higher.
Minnesota, 142.
Okay. Not bad.
And Montana must be way down on the. Mississippi's down there, 94.
94. Okay.
How about Texas?
Texas. Where is Texas?
Do you need some help?
Wyoming, Florida, 142,000.
There's only 50 of them.
There's I'm
Or
only
50
trying to read at the speed
or
of light.
51. How many
Arizona
is it?
162,000.
California,
Ohio.
I would imagine, is pretty big.
Yeah.
But
California.
DC was the highest.
DC is the big one.
Okay.
Hawaii's up there, 258.
Okay.
And so where is North
Okay.
Dakota?
Drum roll.
117,000.
Ooh, good. Good for us.
Yay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. So we are in what place?
New York's only 194,000.
Wow.
Isn't that surprising? Massachusetts more than New York.
Well, you know what, New York, that's you have very wealthy people out there. They're not using much MI out there.
Wisconsin's just above us, 117 and some change, just slightly about 100, just slightly higher than us.
So are we like in the middle of the pack, or we're in the bottom third?
We're right in the upper middle.
Upper middle. Okay.
We're right in the upper middle. So,
So
people
we're
are
in
doing
the-
a pretty good job of controlling their home their home ownership debt for them. Montana's 137.
Okay. Higher than us. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But South Dakota's lower. No, South Dakota was higher than us.
South Dakota was lower than us.
Lower than us. Okay. Minnesota was barely above us.
Still didn't find Texas, Jim.
Okay.
But it's in small print.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, so 117,000.
Okay.
That's what you're doing in North Dakota.
Okay.
Managing that debt very well.
Glad to say I'm driving that average down. That's good.
You are. You know,
Yeah.
you are always looking for ways to
Yep.
contribute.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay.
Okay, so three things.
Three
Three
things.
lessons I
Three
learned.
lessons.
From,
All
three
right.
lessons I learned from the mortgage rate drop.
Very good. Okay.
This is by Diana Oleg.
Number one. Or should we do them?
No.
Our
Number
top
one.
3 list.
Number one.
Should we do it
there are
three?
still people who need to refinance.
Get out.
No, and that's what she says. She goes, the conventional wisdom told us that everybody who could refinance did,
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
but there is still a large cohort able to refinance.
Why?
But PMI.
They have PMI.
They have PMI. They got a little equity.
Yep. Refinance, get rid of the PMI.
Get rid of the PMI. With
There
a
you
nice
go,
low
folks.
rate in the 4s or the 3s. Why
right.
not? Moving from a 30-year
To a 15?
to a 15-year.
Very good. Yes. Definitely. That is definitely something that we're not kidding there. That is something you should always look at.
The recent rate reductions added 1.4 million borrowers to the refinanceable population.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't refinanced or you just want to check it out,
Yeah. You got a 30
you might
Yeah.
still be a good idea
If
for
you've
you.
got a 20, 30-year term left or somewhere that left on your loan, it's definitely worth looking at refinancing to a shorter term.
Low rates were going to make people buy homes.
Were they?
No, that's
Didn't
the
happen.
other thing she learned.
Didn't happen.
Diana learned that it didn't happen.
Yeah,
It was a lie.
Plenty of other reasons causing people not to buy homes.
Yeah. And so low rates did not push people off the fence.
Okay.
And that's what she says. Low rates did not push people off the fence.
Shoot.
And
We were
into a
hoping
home.
for that.
Mortgage applications to purchase a home actually fell with interest rates.
Oh, go figure. That's some algebra thing there going on, I think, that I have no idea what it is.
And
We got 1 minute, Jim says.
Wall Street
Wall Street, those
may
guys.
have spooked home buyers falsely. Number 3.
Really? Why?
Wall Street believed that the end of QE3 would send mortgage rates to the 5% range.
Way
Those
off.
predictions may have pulled demand for housing forward and may partially explain why the recent sub 4% rates did little to stoke the
Okay.
purchase loan market. Not if you were listening to this show.
No.
We bucked Wall Street.
We
We
did.
fought the wall.
We did.
And won.
Yeah,
zigged
there we
where
go.
they should have zagged.
We fought the law and
Yeah, we totally guessed.
we fought the law and we won.
Yeah,
we fought the
that's good.
wall.
Hey,
we fought the
won.
wall and
guys,
we won.
we're breezing.
We're breezing.
The Wall Street Journal was wrong, but we
Okay.
were.
Join us next week on Mortgage Talk 101.
Where we'll be right again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll fight the wall again.
Fight the wall.